Welcome to the deep dive. We're plunging headfirst today into a world most people really hope to never see. It's one that can profoundly impact lives. Today, we're navigating what our sources call a shadow world.
A place where money doesn't just talk, it screams.
Exactly. We're talking about the tax underworld, a place where everyday financial challenges can spiral into life-altering crises.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to give you a shortcut to understanding this incredibly complex and often, frankly, terrifying domain.
And it is terrifying. You're right. The source material we looked at describes this world with this almost ominous, really dramatic tone.
Right.
Like a
Film noir.
It paints this vivid picture of just immense psychological and financial pressure. So we're going to try and extract some crucial insights. Like, who are the hunters in this shadow world? What are the weapons they use? Sometimes it's nothing more than a simple letterhead or a looming deadline.
Just paper and dates, but with huge consequences.
Exactly. And we'll look at the surprisingly actionable rescue strategies that are available, all coming from someone who's actually lived through this nightmare themselves.
What's really striking, I think, about this world, and the source highlights this, is this core paradox. In this domain, silence is suicide, and shame is a weapon. Stark terms.
Very stark.
Yet, despite this, most people facing these kinds of challenges, they suffer alone, in the dark. So, does the source get into why?
Why people fall into that trap?
Is it just the shame, or is there something deeper that makes talking about it so hard but also so vital?
Well, it seems to be multi-layered. Beyond just the sheer shame, there's often this profound lack of understanding about the system itself. And that's coupled with a really deep-seated fear of what the government can actually do.
Right, the power imbalance.
Precisely. And the source suggests that this fear is exactly what the hunters, as it calls them, exploit. Silence kind of becomes the default.
And then things just get worse.
They just compound faster when ignored.
Yeah.
It's the self-perpetuating cycle of fear and inaction. And that's what allows the shame to become such a potent weapon against you.
That makes perfect sense. And it's precisely this silent suffering that one individual, Carlos Samaniego, decided to confront head on.
Right, the tax debt detective.
That's him. He became known as that after surviving his own, 8-year nightmare?
8 years, yeah.
And what's even more surprising, and we'll get into this, are the parallels he drew between, of all things, emergency medical response and financial rescue.
It sounds unlikely, but it makes a lot of sense when you dig into it.
Okay, so let's unpack this world a bit then, because it's populated by what our sources call a rogues gallery of characters, or maybe entities is a better word.
Entities that sort of embody the collection process.
Right. So you might run into the collector, that's the federal one. Cold, relentless, only cares about getting paid in full.
Mm-hmm. And this isn't just like a metaphor. It represents the formal notices, the automated demands that can escalate really, really quickly.
Okay, so that's the baseline threat.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And if those automated notices don't work, then you might find yourself facing the hitman.
The hitman, okay.
Which is how the source describes the revenue officer. This is an actual federal agent who might show up at your workplace or your home.
Oh, wow. That's direct.
Very direct. And the crucial insight here is that their personal visits aren't just about collecting money. It's a form of psychological warfare.
Really? How so?
Well, it's designed to leverage the embarrassment, the fear of that direct confrontation to push you into immediate action, whether you can actually afford it or not.
So using public shame,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. And it's not just the federal government you need to worry about. State entities can be even more aggressive sometimes.
Like the CaliClaw, I saw that mentioned. California's beast.
It's exactly. Described as even faster, maybe meaner than the IRS.
Yeah.
And what's compelling there is how it might already be tearing chunks out of your bank accounts while you're still totally focused on the federal side.
So you could be fighting on multiple fronts without even realizing it.
Absolutely. It highlights this critical need to be aware of all the potential adversaries, not just the big one you expect. State agencies often have different rules, quicker timelines. It truly is. And the pressure gets intensely personal. Our sources describe the wage garnishment goblin.
The Goblin. Okay, tell me about that one.
Invisible and hungry, capable of eating like 25% of your paycheck before you even see it.
Wow. How does that even work?
Oh, it's not just a metaphor, it's a legal process. The IRS, or a state agency, sends a notice directly to your employer, and your employer is legally required to withhold that portion of your wages before it ever hits your bank account.
So it just vanishes.
Poof. Then there's the bank levy vulture.
Sounds ominous.
Patient, predatory, circling your finances until it just swoops down and drains everything. Checking, savings.
Everything. Even like a kid's college fund.
If it's in an account they can access, yes. It's a direct seizure of funds held in bank accounts,
Right.
and it can happen totally without warning.
That's brutal. Is there more?
Oh, yeah. Finally, maybe the most insidious one.
The penalty pig.
It just feeds on delay, on procrastination. It gets fatter every single day you wait. Interest compounding on penalties, which are compounding on the original taxes. It never stops eating. Seriously, the source compares it to that friend who always shows up for dinner and just never leaves.
Okay, I know that friend. That's a good analogy.
And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, it really highlights how quickly a tax issue that seemed manageable can just morph into this overwhelming monster. This is the army most people face alone, without backup, without a strategy, maybe feeling without hope, which raises the question, how do you even begin to fight back against something like that?
Indeed, it sounds like an impossible fight against this invisible army, but our source introduces us to someone who found a surprising way, not just to survive it, but to become a guide for others.
This is Samaniego.
That's where Carlos Samaniego comes in. Before he became the tax debt detective, he was actually an EMT, saving lives in ambulances.
Right, high-pressure job.
Very. And what's truly striking is that Carlos, drawing on that background, saw this direct, almost uncanny parallel between saving a life and saving a financial future. How did that realization even come about for him?
Well, his own experience was the catalyst. He lived through, as we said, an 8-year nightmare, feeling like a fugitive, basically, because of unfiled tax forms. He was too ashamed to even tell his wife. And he realized the same protocols that saved lives in medical emergencies, the need for immediate, decisive action, could save families from financial destruction.
The same protocols? Like what?
His training in ambulances taught him to triage, stabilize, and rescue, often within 60 seconds, that initial assessment. And he applied this precise methodology to the tax underworld.
Okay, so let's dive into these phases then. What does phase 1 triage actually involve in the tax world? Can't be 60 seconds there, surely.
No, not 60 seconds, but the principle is the same. Immediate action. Phase 1, triage. It means stopping the bleeding, freezing collections activity, pulling your tax transcripts, buying crucial time.
Okay, stopping the bleeding. What does that look like practically?
It often means immediately intervening to halt any active enforcement actions. Sometimes that's through something called a collection due process or CDP hearing request, or by submitting an offer in compromise, an OIC. Both of those can temporarily pause enforcement.
Okay, so hitting the pause button and pulling transcripts.
That means getting your official tax account records directly from the IRS. They detail exactly what the IRS thinks you owe, the penalties they've slapped on, the dates of everything they've done.
So that gives you the actual facts.
It provides the first clear picture of the true problem. This is critical because, as the source states, it always gets worse before someone intervenes. You have to know what you're fighting.
So stopping the immediate damage is paramount. And is that pulling transcripts step often the first real insight people get into the precise nature of the hole they're in?
Absolutely. For many people, it's the first time they see the problem clearly outlined. It moves from this vague, paralyzing fear to concrete numbers and dates.
Okay, that makes sense. Get the facts straight first.
Then comes phase 2, stabilize.
Stabilize, right. What's involved there?
This involves filing all outstanding tax returns. That means every single unfiled individual or business return that's required by law and securing compliance going forward. Exactly. It's about getting compliant to stop the damage from spreading further. You have to prevent more penalties and collection actions from piling up. You simply can't negotiate effectively with the IRS if your filings aren't up to date. They won't even talk to you seriously otherwise.
Right, you have to show you're playing by the rules now.
Pretty much.
And finally, after the immediate threat is contained, all the necessary paperwork is filed. We reach phase 3, rescue. How does this stage bring someone back towards, a normal life?
Phase 3, rescue. This is where the negotiation really happens, finding the path back.
Okay.
This is where options like offers in compromise, settling for less than the full amount, or installment agreements, or maybe penalty abatements come into play. You tailor a resolution to the person's unique financial situation. And what's compelling here, again, is Carlos's background providing this unique perspective.
Because he wasn't a typical tax pro.
Exactly. He wasn't a tax professional who sort of stumbled into crisis management. He was a crisis manager, an EMT, who applied his life-saving skills to a financial emergency.
Right.
He understands that by the time people call him, they're usually way past desperate. Wages are already being garnished, accounts frozen. They're literally hiding from their own mailbox.
That sounds awful.
It is. But his unwavering belief, and this comes directly from his own escape from that tax hell, is that you're never too far gone for rescue.
That's a powerful message.
He believes every case is solvable. Every family can be saved. We even get a glimpse of this in action with a case study, Sarah Martinez, a small restaurant owner in Tucson. She's facing $180,000 in payroll tax debt. And the collector, the IRS, has given her just 12 days before seizing her assets, her business, everything.
12 days. Wow.
So this is a real-world, super high-stakes application of his triage, stabilize, rescue system.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what does this mean for you, the listener? The core insight here seems to be that crisis response, specifically these triage, stabilize, rescue protocols Carlos Samaniego developed from his EMT background, can be incredibly effective.
Yeah, really effective.
In combating that whole rogues gallery of tax collection entities we talked about earlier, the collector, the Hitman, the CaliClaw, the wage garnishment Goblin, the bank levy Vulture, and, the penalty pig.
Don't forget the pig.
Never forget the pig. And Carlos's own personal experience, hiding his tax issues for 8 long years, feeling like a fugitive in his own life, that really fuels his belief that you're never too far gone for rescue.
And connecting that back to Sarah Martinez, facing that huge debt, $180,000, with only 12 days before her assets are seized, understanding the rules of this underworld is crucial. Rules like it always gets worse before someone intervenes. Understanding that and knowing the specific actionable phases of rescue triage, stabilize, rescue, and organization can fundamentally shift the power dynamic.
From victim to someone with a plan.
Exactly. And this raises an important point about critical thinking, doesn't it? It's not just knowing what happened to Sarah, but understanding why these interventions work and how they're actually applied.
Right. The mechanics matter.
They do. It turns what feels like a desperate, overwhelming situation into, well, a solvable problem. It proves that knowledge and strategy really are the ultimate weapons against that fear and overwhelm.
That's absolutely right. So as you reflect on this deep dive today, maybe consider how often we face hidden battles in our own lives. They might not be financial ones, necessarily.
Like anything.
Right. But situations where silence is suicide, where not acting makes things worse, and where proactive, intelligent intervention, like Carlos's system, is really the only path to rescue.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does. How many other areas of our lives could benefit from that kind of immediate, disciplined crisis response? Ponder how those same principles, staying calm under pressure, triaging a crisis, whether you're in the back of an ambulance or facing down the terrifying tax underworld, how they can transform seemingly impossible situations into opportunities for salvation.
Finding a way through.
Exactly. So maybe think about it. What hidden battle might you be facing right now where applying these principles, triage, stabilize, rescue, could make all the difference? Just reminding you that rescue is truly possible.